Well, welcome back to the series of videos that I'm doing on the finished carpentry for this basement remodel. And I'm starting here today in the same place I did in the last video. In the last one, we put together all of the tile that goes into the surround for this fireplace. Well, now it's time to do the carpentry side of that, build up the legs and the mantle that will also make up the surround. I'm glad to be getting back into the carpentry, so let's get to the work. Now, before we get started on the actual build, I thought I'd come upstairs to a surround that is already in place in the house. And the reason that I thought I would do that is I want to show you just how accessible these builds are. If you look at this surround, you can think of it really as just a bunch of layers glued or screwed together. This leg is nothing more than a box. And on top of that box has been glued a pre-milled piece of wood with this detail already in it. This horizontal part here above the fireplace is also just a box, and to that box has been glued some trim. Now they may have hand routed this particular trim out, or they could have bought it this way from a mill also. Above that is a standard piece of crown. That's pretty easy to cut and put in place. And on top of that is the mantle, which is just a regular dimensional board with this routed edge on it. Now you're going to watch me use some of my fancier tools because I'm going to work from some raw materials, but you don't have to do that. These kind of mantles are put into place on the job site by finished carpenters every single day using the basic tools that you would have on the site. So you can get things with all sorts of detail, whatever you design up, just by finding the right millwork pieces, putting them together in the right order, and installing them. I'll show you how that process works as we go along. Because I am working from rough cut lumber, my process begins by milling it all down to the proper dimensions. This is the part of the process that you can completely skip and just buy boards that are already cut to the right size. Most surrounds are made out of MDF that you'd find in the trim section of a box store or a millwork store. In my case, I'm cutting it out of rough cut poplar, which is a great material for painting. As I mentioned, the two legs of the surround are basically a box. Because that box is going to be sitting both against the wall and the tile, the outside edge needs to stick out half an inch further than the inside edge. So really my box for the legs looks a bit like an L. The box making up the header of my fireplace surround is going to have trim on both sides. I'm rounding out my trim on the router table, but you can also do this using a handheld router. That header box hits the wall on both sides, so it has more of a U shape than an L shape, and I attach the trim with some glue and some finish nails. We're continuing to build in layers, so we started with this little box that had the offsets for the wall attachment, and then the two pieces of trim that kind of sandwiched it together. But there are some hidden layers that you can put in too. This piece that I put on top only has structural reasons for being there. You're not going to see it. And the structural reason is that I want to put this piece of crown molding here, like that, before I get to the mantle that will rest on top. And crown molding is designed to fit against a wall and a ceiling. The mantle is my ceiling, and this hidden piece, that's going to be my wall. It's worth taking a minute to talk about how you can cut crown molding. And the perfect tool for it is the compound miter saw. It's a compound miter saw because it tilts not just this way, but it also tilts that way. So because our crown molding is going to be up at 45 degrees, we can simulate that while still holding it flat against the surface by using both of those miter actions. The easier cut, though, of course, is if it's just going to butt into the wall. In that case, I can just lay it down flat and get my 90-degree cut. The thing that you learn pretty quickly working with crown molding, though, is it's often easier just to use one of the motions of the saw. So if I'm getting a 90-degree angle and I need to cut 45-degree miters, usually the easiest thing is for me simply to move my saw over to the 45-degree position and then actually put my trim up, my crown molding up at its 45-degree position as well. Once you've figured out where that 45 degrees is, it's not a bad idea to use a little tape to mark So when you move new pieces in, you're getting exactly the same angle again. I also put the crown molding so that the bottom of the molding is facing up towards the saw. Like most fireplace surrounds using crown molding, mine is made up of 3 pieces. There are 2 short pieces on the 2 sides and 1 long piece that you see when you look straight on. It's best to cut those 2 short pieces first from a longer piece of crown. The wide part of your cut will be towards the bottom and the narrow towards the top. And you can see here how this cutting technique does make the pieces line up perfectly. I attached the crown molding to that structural layer using some finish nails. I then turn my attention back over to the mantle where I'm routing out a decorative edge on 3 sides. I attach the mantelpiece to the crown again using those finish nails. And what I haven't shown you here is I've also added a couple little support pieces. Those supports are behind the crown and they tie the mantle into the header box. And there's no need to worry if you don't have perfect joints. A little putty into the nail holes and some caulk along the edges makes everything look great. As a final assembly step, I add a couple of bases to each of the legs just to give them a little more heft. The large piece is attached from the back with screws and the 2 sides are just glued on. I prefer to install the surrounds into some solid wood rather than try to attach it directly to the wall. I don't have any studs to work with for the legs, so I'm adding some wall anchors that I can use to attach my support. I attach the legs to those wall anchors using some finish nails. Fortunately, because the header box runs horizontally, I can attach my support to the studs directly. So I screw those in and then again attach the header using some finish nails. I again fill all of the nail heads and I caulk all of the edges, both against the wall and against the tiles. The caulking is going to make it look better and give it some strength holding it in place. Now that it's all done, I hope there are 2 things that you took away from this video. The first, of course, is the emphasis on the layers. Every time you pass by a wooden fireplace around now, I hope you take a good look at it to see what the layers are that went into it and how you might be able to replicate something just like it. The second thing I hope you take away is that it's really not that difficult to do. You can get almost all of the pieces from a standard box store and use simple tools to get it all put together. So let this be a little bit of encouragement. If you ever need a project like this and it seems daunting, don't let it be daunting. I think you can do it. That wraps up the fireplace in here. The next step is to add carpet, but someone else is going to be doing that. And that should cut down the echo in some of the future videos. Next thing we're going to be working on is a whole lot more cabinets. I hope you'll join me for that, and I'll see you there.